Once upon a time, there was a little boy called Howard who loved writing stories.
Little Howard dreamed of being a writer, and so he sat and wrote every night. But everything he wrote was fucking shite, yeah. Wubba-dubba-doo, wubba-dubba-doo. Worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world. He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer.
Welcome to the worst writer in the world. This is episode 3 of George Spooner and the Woman Who Loved a Horse. And in episode 2, we finally met the woman who loved a horse.
And she loved it, right?
And she did
love
that.
it, yeah.
We met the horse. We also met the horse. And she did love that horse. But first of all, the first thing we discovered in this story was George Spooner. Excellent, amazing character. A man.
Yeah.
A man who was born into a poor family.
Yeah.
But at some point in his life, got rich.
Yeah.
And we don't know how yet, right?
Not
We don't know
yet.
how yet, but I reckon it's going to be some good Howard plotting, some really believable, good research kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to that. But we know that he is new money.
Yes.
He's told us that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we know that he has a lot of time on his hands. Or Howard.
yeah.
I don't know if you've got another way you could put that.
Yes.
What is he?
He's the parvenu with nowt to do.
Yeah, that joke being because he's also from Colville, even though he has worked to lose his accent, although it does come through occasionally if you listen carefully. Yeah.
Yes, I was going upareke. I was going upareke.
Yes, with my friends to drink some cider. And of course, the biggest thing that we discovered about George Spooner is that because he has nowt to do, he decided to fill his empty rich person time by stalking people who happen to be wearing white.
Nice stalking,
And if he sees, I don't think there's such a thing. And if he sees someone wearing more white, he has to stalk them. And this has led him to stalk a woman onto the ferry to France, and that's where he is now. Unfortunately, basically, he's really like
bad
the woman
at it.
caught him,
Yeah.
right? He's not good at it. The woman caught him and basically said, "Excuse me, George Spooner, why are you following me around and why are you following me to France?" And where we left it was just with George going, "But how do you know that I was following you all the way from London?"
Yes, brilliant.
And she says, "You're wearing a bright orange suit, Mr. Spooner."
Oh!
"You're wearing a bright orange suit, Mr. Spooner." I was indeed. "If one is following another person, it is advisable to wear something less conspicuous." I had bought this specifically to play White Rabbit in. The idea being that I was the fox, and foxes are orange. In retrospect, it was seeming like a bad idea. And I was beginning to suspect the reason foxes were nocturnal was due to the fact that they were so poorly camouflaged that they felt embarrassed to come out in the daytime. Have you never seen an actual fox, right? You only seen them in cartoons where they're bright orange.
Yeah.
Because they're not really, you know.
Yeah, bright orange. Yeah.
Right, fair enough. No more following, I said sheepishly. Now that proves that he's changed his ways, because a minute ago he thought it was a fox, but now he's being sheepish.
Sheepish.
She continued to stare at me as though she expected more evidence to support my comment. So I started gluing cotton wool to myself to prove that I was now a sheep and not a fox. But she expected more evidence to support my comment. "I'll just stand here for a while with these pigs," I said, trying to reassure her.
They're not pigs, she said. They're cats. You don't know much, do you?
"Not much, no." "Good," she said, and left. I lingered for a few minutes, observing the hands of my watch tick around. After I had given her a fair head start, I decided I was good to leave. I stopped briefly to congratulate the horse on its way with women, and then I headed back to the bar for a stiff drink and a stiffer scratching. Okay. I was confused for a moment, then I remembered he was eating pork scratchings, wasn't he? So he wants a stiff drink and a stiffer scratching.
And they are stiffer, so...
Well, drinks aren't actually very stiff, are they?
No.
Quite floppy.
Yeah.
We would be arriving very soon, so I would need to telegraph ahead to my favourite hotel. No point in rushing home, I figured. There would be plenty of rabbits in Paris.
He's not learned anything.
I had learned nothing. Nothing at all.
Maybe he'll put on a less obvious suit this time and be better at it. And
Yeah, maybe that's what he's
he'll
learned,
successfully murder someone in Paris.
Oh, no. I bought some camouflage clothing. They don't work in the city. In fact, they make you stand out more. As I sat in the bar, idling the remainder of the journey away with a whiskey, pork scratchings, and a copy of the Times, whose mug should I see staring out at me as I turned the page but Miss Mary Darling's? Her mug was in the newspaper. That was strange. It was a lovely blue one. No, of course, mug means face. It appeared that she had not just resigned from society, but was considered missing. Last seen at Ascot Ladies' Day, Miss Mary Darling Eversham, betrothed to Lord Edward Bruff, is still missing. A reward has been offered for anybody with any information regarding her whereabouts. There was a contact telephone number for a Lady Beulah Bruff. The article went on to say that Miss Darling may be travelling with a short gentleman and a horse, and that it was entirely out of character, and that Miss Darling was looking forward to marrying in August. Interestingly, a sentence at the bottom read, Lord Bruff declined to comment. The article then went on to say that an astonishing 63 persons were reported missing per day in Great Britain alone.
Wow.
Most of whom are never found. It name-checked some famous missing persons of the past decade, Andrew Irvine, Percy Fawcett, and of course Agatha Christie, who fortunately did turn up again. And then included a few mugshots of recent cases of interest, including a circus strongman, Horace Birtwistle, a gentle giant who is missed by his wife and 14 children. Although I personally suspected his wife was enjoying the rest. Yeah, that lovely rest she was having, looking after 14 children. And a Mrs. Henrietta Parfitt from Kent, who was a keen amateur magician. It did not say how she had vanished, but I supposed she had stepped into a box, yelled abracadabra, and simply not come out again. Just like Gret Binchleaf's parents. Well, I did not need a reward, but I did think it my duty as an upstanding citizen to alert the poor mother of Miss Darling that her daughter was not in any way harmed, and made a mental note to send word when I reached Paris.
Oh, right, yeah. So, because he got knocked back, he's like, well,
I'm going to tell your mum.
you don't want to have a drink with me, I'm going to tell your mum.
Yeah. Your daughter refused to drink with me after I stalked her to France.
But does this mean, therefore, that her mum's name is Beulah Bruff and she's trying to make her daughter marry her brother?
It seems that way, right?
Now, when is she sleeping with a horse? I mean...
Preferable. I mean, both bad situations, but incest or bestiality, what are you going to choose? Neither, please. you don't get that choice.
We've got to have one. Okay, I'll fuck the horse then. Good choice. You chose wisely. So you think he's going to ignore that telephone number and send a telegram to an entirely different other person?
That or you're getting confused about who's who again?
Yeah, probably.
Also, I concluded that it might be a good idea not to let this rabbit out of my sights just yet.
Oh!
I told myself that continuing to stalk her was a good idea, even though she knew I was stalking her, had known since the moment I started, and had pointed out that I was wearing really ridiculously noticeable clothes.
And had asked me not to, and then told me if I continued to do so, she would alert the authorities.
I tore the page out of the paper, folded it, and placed it in my wallet. As the ferry came into shore, I stood on deck with the other passengers waving at the friends, relatives, and total strangers who were waiting to greet us. His friends, his relatives, and also some people I'd never met. Every time I stalk someone to France, I always make sure that my friends and family are already there waiting for me on the shore. They're arriving in France now, right? Is that right? Is that true?
Right, yeah.
They are, okay. For some reason, I've got it in my mind that they turned the ferry round when they found out there was a stalker on board, and now he's like arriving back in Dover.
Police
I
are
have to
waiting
keep
for
reminding
him.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I waved from the deck at the police, more police, and lots of police who were waiting for me. No, hang on. I spoke too soon. The text knew that I would think they were his friends, his relatives, and his total strangers. So the text then tells me, though I knew nobody on shore, I joined in with the revelry along with everybody else, as was the custom. That's not the that might be your personal custom. You know, I don't know any of these people. Hello, hello, it's me, George Stalker.
Seems like the kind of thing a stalker would do. Like, I mean, he seems like a quite dangerous person. He's like waving at somebody, waving at somebody, hey, and they'd be like, do I know you? He says, you do now. Invite me around, come on.
I live in your house now. I feel like it's the sort of thing a stalker shouldn't do, drawing attention to themselves. I mean, obviously, the main thing a stalker shouldn't do is stalk people. But if they
wouldn't be a stalker then. They have to do that.
But yeah, if by the way words work, they are therefore stalking people, then they shouldn't be like wearing, what is it? He's wearing an orange suit, right?
Yeah.
Like a bright orange or bright pink suit. And now he's standing on the deck of the boat going, hello, I just stalked my way here. I'm stalking from England, you know. It's like, be a bit more subtle if you're going to stalk people.
No.
Or don't do it. Better. Preferably don't do it. Then I guess maybe that's the thing. Maybe in this perfect world that we're dreaming of, where there are no stalkers, or no, there are almost no stalkers, because actually getting rid of a type of people, you know, a type of awful person is difficult. But if there must be stalkers, let's at least make them really obvious, because they're all wearing really bright clothes and yelling.
That's it. That's what you didn't realise is that's what they make stalkers wear, the bright orange suit. That's the stalker outfit. Yeah. So you can spot them.
So a future legal system where punishment is much more creative. They don't put people in prison. They just make sure they can't commit the crime anymore in other ways. You can only buy bright pink suits and you have to yell everywhere you go. Anyone who sees a person in bright pink not yelling, they get in trouble.
Yeah. Tom Cruise makes you wear it.
Yeah, even if you haven't done the stalking yet, he just turns up and puts a pink suit on you. And you can't take it off.
Yeah.
Oh, no, don't glue that suit on me, Tom Cruise. Don't glue that suit on me. Oh, he did.
I've got to. A snooker ball told me to.
Yeah, all right, fine. I suppose I'm a stalker now. Hello, everybody. I'm just stalking. I'm just stalking to France. I've never done it before, but Tom Cruise just glued this suit on me. Now I have to. I feel like this isn't helping the situation. Now it's like the law that I have to stalk people to France while yelling. Though I knew nobody on the shore, I joined in with the revelry along with everybody else, as was the custom. It was rather like being a child back in the day and waving at steam trains.
Yes, and stalking people.
Stalking people to France on boats.
This guy just didn't grow up, did he? Everything he does, he relates back to when he was a kid.
Yeah.
We used to follow people, so I still do it.
Yes.
I used to shit in my pants, I still do that.
Yes. I used to die of consumption, so... no, hang on.
Yeah.
As I looked round at my fellow happy, waving travellers, I spotted Mary Darling again.
No.
She looked very fetching,
Oh,
all
no.
in white, the wind dancing with her hair as she waved towards shore. She got over the discovery that someone had stalked her from England to France very quickly. I noticed, though, that she did not enter into the waving with the same vigour as the rest of us. She wasn't waving as vigorously as we were.
As he was, yes, specifically him.
Yes, I was really going for it, shouting. Yeah.
It's me, George Spooner. I've come to stalk you. France, I've come to stalk France.
Yes, now I noticed she did not enter into waving with the same vigour as the rest of us. The sadness I had witnessed earlier in the animal hold still evident. She carries a sadness with her because she's in love with a horse.
Yeah.
I think is what we're meant to read here. I wondered if the cause of her woe was anything to do with her beloved horse. It's almost what I just said.
It is reason. Hey, society does not look fondly on women that love horses. You know, it's the last great taboo, isn't it?
No. There's a few others as well.
Yeah.
And it depends on the kind of love, right? You can love your horse in the way that, like you love, like, I don't know, sandwiches. You can love eating horse, right? That's fine. All right, so I wondered if the cause of her woe was anything to do with her beloved horse. And then I amused myself briefly by thinking that perhaps this particular horse had misunderstood when the jockey had demanded her woe. And then there's 4 question marks after that. They're not in red, but I wonder if that's you later going, what does this mean?
Yeah, maybe.
So perhaps the horse had misunderstood when the jockey had demanded her woe. Woe. Like, woe as in feel sad? Yeah. I wonder if the cause of her... Oh, no, I wondered if the cause of her woe was anything to do with her beloved horse. And then I amused myself briefly by thinking that perhaps this particular horse had misunderstood when the jockey had demanded her woe.
Oh, okay, right.
So, like, the horse is sad because the jockey said woe, and so the horse says, oh, well, I better experience that very human emotion of woe then. And then by, like, because the woman cares so much about the horse, when you see someone suffering from woe, you also feel woeful. And so that's
true.
That's what George Spooner has deduced in this moment.
Well, I mean, that's interesting, isn't it? Because, like, you do say giddy up to a horse, and that makes to make the horse more giddy, right? Like, which is cheerful.
To increase your giddiness.
Cheerfulness, yeah. So maybe that's what they do mean when they say woe to a horse, even though it's not spelled like, and it definitely does not mean that.
well, I mean, have you ever seen a jockey write down the word woe?
That's right.
We don't know what they're saying. We think it's with an H, but maybe it's not. No, maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe horses go faster when they're happy, and so what jockeys are really doing is they're going, cheer up, come on, happiness, and the horse is getting faster, and they're like, okay, feel miserable, like think about sad things. Think about puppies dying. So he's just having his little flight of fancy about his hilarious wordplay.
Yes.
But I soon stopped smiling to myself when I noticed a sudden and very discernible change in Miss Darling's countenance. She was no longer waving, but...
Because you're standing there grinning, staring at her, right? That's what's happening.
Yeah, 5 minutes after she said, don't do that or I will call security.
Staring at her and laughing by the sounds of it. It was jokes. And what she's turned around and seen him just staring, going...
Yes.
She's like, fucking hell.
Yes, okay, so she was no longer waving, but stiff as a board, staring wide-eyed out to shore, and gripping the rail so tight her china white knuckles turned red. Ooh. So something has scared her, but amazingly it is not him. I tried to look where she was looking, to see what or who it was that had caused this sudden fear, but there was no way of telling amongst the large sea of faces that awaited us. Then, with a melodramatic movement, she tore her eyes away, swinging around, and fought her way to the back of the crowd, where she began to unashamedly sob in public.
Oh, my gosh.
Of course, with all the cheering and the way everybody else was facing, I was the only public aware of her trauma.
And so I went over and told her to be ashamed for sobbing. Stop crying, woman. You're disgusting.
This is in public. I may be the only public who's noticed, but I still count as public. Would you like to wee in me? I am public, and I'm about to call myself a gent. So you can wee in me if you like. As a gentleman, albeit a 2-2 gent. Right, I'm going to need some help with this. As a gentleman, albeit a 2-2 gent. What does that mean?
Well, we know he's a parvenu, so we know that he wasn't a gentleman when he was born. And usually gentlemen are born gentlemen, aren't they? They come out with top hats on. But like he had to buy his hat. He's not going to naturally occurring top hat. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what it means. I'm happy with that. All right. So, as a gentleman, albeit the type of gentleman who is not born with a top hat already on, but one who had to go to a shop and buy one with money I made later in life rather than inheriting, I saw it was my duty to step in. And so I walked delicately over to her.
Oh, God.
No, I mean, she just told you not to do this. She told you not to talk to her, not to follow her, and now you're like, oh, it's a moment of vulnerability when she's probably feeling quite scared and very emotional. I'll go and prod her.
Yeah, she'll
Stay
like
away.
like to see my face, a friendly face.
Remember me? We just met when I was stalking you. So, as a gentleman, I saw it was my duty to step in, and so I walked delicately over to her. But even now, as a fully formed, but even now, as a fully formed adult, I was awkward when a lady began to cry, especially a lady who had told me that if I spoke to her or looked at her again, she would call security on account of me having stalked her from England.
Yeah.
I said, I like that. That's good. I said, are you all right, Miss Darling? Go away. If there's any way I can be of assistance, I said go away, she yelled with a ferociousness that quite surprised me. Right you are, I said, and began to skulk away timidly. Wait, come back.
Oh.
Women can be so changeable.
Ha!
I hedged my way back to her. I hedged my way. That's what I did. Fortunately, at least I didn't travel. It could be worse. I didn't travel my way back to her. I hedged my way back to her with a hedge. Give me your hanky, she demanded, and I obliged her willingly. This was not a lady to be trifled with. Or stalked to France. Her cries abated. Mary wiped the tears away from her cheeks. Then she had a good blow. And after, held the thing back out to me. I was tempted to tell her to keep it. As pretty as she was, I was not after obtaining a sample of her mucus.
Weren't you though?
I did not want to put her snot sample in my collection of bodily fluids from people I have stalked. I was hoping to get some blood instead. As pretty as she was, I mean, that's a weird sentence as well, isn't it? I mean, not only that I didn't want a sample of her mucus, that's unpleasant, but the as pretty as she was part. Like, I know you think that because she was pretty, that means I want some of her snot in a piece of material. But I'm going to surprise you now and tell you that I didn't want that.
Yeah.
It should be more like, the sense we bear is like, much as I was a scary weirdo stalker, I was not after obtaining a sample of her mucus.
Yeah.
However, I'd recently had it monogrammed in gold thread and was rather taken with it, so I took it from her and returned it coyly to my pocket.
We know what that means.
We do. First, I vomited over the side, made sure a bit of carrot stayed on my lip, and then turned to her with doe eyes.
Mary, question.
Where are you staying in town? She asked suddenly. You are staying in Paris, I presume? Yes, the Line Hotel.
Oh.
See, you're going to, as we saw with the date, you're going traditional, where you just, like, you're not going to make up a name, because it may be fiction, but it's set in the real world, but you're also not going to actually tell us the name.
Yeah, because I don't want to advertise it to anybody living in the 30s in France, because, I'm not getting paid, so...
Or maybe you didn't want to look it up or invent something. And you've like, they used to do this in books all the time. Lazy bastards, I'm doing that. Yes, the hotel.
And she was like, ooh, I'm staying at the hotel. But we don't know if it's the same one because I've not read either of them. So what? Okay.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh well, that's a coincidence.
Maybe. That's maybe a coincidence.
It's a good hotel, Mr. Spender, was it? Spooner, George Spooner. Well, a good day to you. Are you meeting anyone unsure? Perhaps we could catch the train together, I said, pitching another try at stalking her after she'd said no very clearly before. Perhaps we could catch the train together. No, she said. No. Very fucking clear. And she turned and walked away back into the passenger throng. Howard, this story is amazing, but I tell you what would be better if it was about Gret Binchleaf. So if you want to listen to a Gret Binchleaf story, why not sign up to the secret gang at patreon.com/manbycow, where you can get Gret Binchleaf stories for as little as $2 a month. And you can get more for $7. And you can get all fucking 11 books for $12 immediately. Just get your hands on them straight away.
You can just buy them one at a time, like someone seems to be doing, and God bless them.
Yeah, that's a really expensive way to do it. But if you are really, really terrified of commitment, like the kind of commitment that you can cancel at any time and isn't really commitment, then you can spend much more money by buying the books individually. Or you can sign up, get all the back catalogue, and get the new chapters that we're releasing as soon as we write them, which should be once a month, but sometimes a little bit less than that because we're not very good. All right, let's get back to George Spooner, shall we, Howard?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm pretty excited because the next section has a title, and the next section's title is A Brief History of Me.
Yes.
So I think this is going to be good because we know this has been a well set up, not very self-aware character, but also with an interesting backstory. So I'm looking forward to this. A brief history of me. I believe I mentioned that I was new money. You are no doubt aware that being able to pay for the party, alas, does not make you necessarily welcome at it. Just look at poor Gatsby. Fed and watered the entirety of Long Island, and look where it got him. If you've not read it, then I shan't spoil it for you. Suffice to say, it wasn't a happy ending. And he gets shot.
Does it say that?
That is what it says. That's good. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it says.
Good old George Spooner. I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but he does get shot.
Yes, and he is a ghost all along. I was born the third and final son of a forklift truck driver. And there's another 3 question marks here, so I think this shows that this is an edit. Because he's not really saying, I was born the third and final son of a forklift truck driver, is he? It's not like a real emphatic question.
I guess my question is, did forklift truck drivers exist in whenever he was born? 1990 line, because I don't know how old he is. Or...
Yeah, no forklift trucks in 1990 line. I was born the third and final son of a forklift truck driver in a mining village near Derby.
Ooh.
Sounds like Coville to me.
Yeah.
In terms of his peers, my father was actually considered a la-di-da.
Yeah, where did he get his beans from, George?
The real men went down the pit with a shovel, davy lamp, and a canary. Every single one of them had their own canary. That's how mining works. My father had decided to better himself, and did so by learning to drive a vehicle with a top speed of 8 miles per hour. I don't know why that's relevant, but you know how the faster your car goes, the posher you are. That's how that works, isn't it? I don't think forklift trucks existed at this point. If this guy's an adult in the 30s, then his dad's going to be working at the turn of the century.
I feel like it's an easy one to solve, and it would have been an easy one to solve when I wrote it, just by Googling when was the forklift truck invented. And
because when did you write this?
2013. Obviously, they existed then.
Yeah. Problem solved.
I didn't imagine them, and then they came into being a few years later, and that's why I put loads of question marks over it. Did I invent forklift trucks?
Are they real? No, I mean the thing is, you've said that the kind of the point of this was to write a lot quickly, right? Yeah. This is like an exercise in just splurging out as much as you can, and then you go back and check the details later. So. Yeah, the point is not to be stopping to Google things and then getting distracted for an hour.
Yes,
True. So it makes sense. You just go, I'm forklift truck driver. I'll check later.
That's true. I probably turned off my Wi-Fi or something just to force myself.
So anyway, the real way, my father decided to better himself and did so by learning to drive a vehicle with a top speed of 8 miles per hour. As a child, I was rather embarrassed, but now, as a full-grown idiot, I am very proud of my father, and since I am never to be accepted by the upper class, take great pleasure in talking about him at great length at every available opportunity. I really ought to be on a percentage from these plastic surgeon chappies. What? I really ought to be on a percentage from these plastic surgeon chappies. I warrant I send a lot of business their way, given the amount of noses I've put out of joint.
Ah, okay. Plastic surgeons?
Yeah.
They exist?
Yeah.
I mean, if forklift
No
trucks...
question
If there's a
marks
question over a forklift truck, then...
Yeah, no. So, I mean, were surgeons even washing their hands at this point? Yeah, I was expecting a different joke then, because he's talking at great length. So, I mean, the same joke, but just with a different idiom. I was expecting, I wanted to send a lot of business to plastic surgeons, given the number of ears I have bent.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was expecting, but then it was noses put out of
Yeah,
joint.
yeah, I thought it was going to be ears I'd talked off, and then I was thinking what would be better than a plastic surgeon would be like, I don't know, a sewing person.
Yeah, I think a noses put out of joint is... Sorry. I think noses put out of joint is the better choice. That's like it's got a nicer sound to it.
Is that an idiom though? Like putting someone's nose out of joint because you talked at them?
No, because you've upset them. I think that's the problem. The problem is that it's not set up perfectly. Yeah. Because you haven't got this strong sense of people being upset by him talking about his dad. It's there, but it's a bit subtle. And so for that to be the end of the paragraph, you want a stronger feeling of him not just talking about his dad, but everyone being a bit miffed about it for some reason. Yeah. And maybe like being clear what that reason is. But if you ignore the fact that it's not very well set up, right, and you ignore the fact that plastic surgeons didn't exist at this point, it's a really good. In another situation, it's a really good line.
Yeah.
I ought to be on a percentage from these plastic surgeon chappies. I warrant I send a lot of business their way, given the amount or the number of noses I put out of joint. That's a good line.
Hooray.
Just in the wrong place. Both my brothers were smarter than me. I was a drippy young thing, more interested in reading fiction and listening to plays on the radio than learning. And understandably, I was deemed the child least likely to make something of himself. My eldest brother, Archie, was highly academic. He excelled in English, history, and sociology.
Wow.
And I can't even say that word.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
He grew up to be a journalist of some note. And while we do keep in touch, his work takes him to such backwaters that I am rarely able to send him a missive, as he is constantly on the move. I sometimes manage to email or text message him.
Yeah.
The middle child, Frederick, was fascinated in chemistry, and Mother Dear hoped he'd grow to discover the cure for gout or some such. Unfortunately, it transpired that Fred's interest in chemistry did not extend beyond a love of filling his tank so high you could probably power your motorcar on his breath. The last anyone heard of Frederick was when he got sent down for a month at the Old Bailey, and that was over a year ago. What he has been up to since then is anyone's guess. Frankly, I remain in a constant state of surprise that he hasn't been over to squeeze me for a tenner. For prior to his incarceration, he would be round every week. As I say, I am so loaded these days, I call my bed my holster.
What?
I am so loaded these days. Oh, I'm so loaded. I call my bed my holster
so
because
he's a gun.
I'm in it.
I'm gun.
Loaded. Yeah, I'm loaded like a gun.
So he's full of bullets then, is he?
He is full of bullets. Yeah, he eats them. He eats them for breakfast.
Yeah, because I thought when he said he was loaded, I thought he meant he had lots of money. I didn't realise what he meant is that he's full of bullets. I think the problem is that George Spooner's not very good at like metaphors. So like he gets confused halfway through, and by the end of it, he's an actual gun. It's like, what's going on?
I think the problem is that George Spooner is better at wordplay than we are. And he's taking us by surprise when he was like, and we're so focused on the actual intended kind of metaphorical meaning of loaded that we forget the literal and therefore miss his hilarious puns.
Oh, brilliant.
He's outwitting us while also telling us that he's an idiot.
Well, he is clearly an idiot because his brother was obviously shanked in prison and is now dead and he's not noticed. He's like, oh, it's weird. He went to prison like over a year ago. I've not seen him since and he always used to come around for money, but where could he be?
Well, I asked a journo friend of Archie's to see what they could dig up. But beyond confirming he was alive and living... a journalist confirmed. It's like, oh, yeah, he's definitely alive and living down in Hastings. But I can't tell you anything else because he's dead. Anyway, you owe me £50 for finding that out for you.
Yeah.
But beyond confirming he was alive and living down in Hastings, there was little else they could tell me. Now, to me. Where did I get my money from?
Hooray!
Well, having, as I've said... Oh, okay. That's not a phrase that exists, but it carries on and then it makes sense. Having, as I've said... Well, having, as I've said, an interest in comic books, I decided that I would be an artist. Unfortunately, this was not a road immediately open to me. Because you can't just go into a job centre and say, I'd like a job as an artist, please. Certainly, I could not afford college. I could not afford to move to Paris and hang around drinking absinthe. And I couldn't afford the necessary equipment.
Yeah, I couldn't draw. Couldn't draw to save my life.
So basically he's saying couldn't afford education, couldn't afford to move to a different country, and couldn't afford pencils. Probably should have started with that one.
Could have used a bit of coal. Get a bit of that coal from down pit.
And I couldn't afford the necessary equipment, so I decided I would be an actor instead. I loved the idea of the theatre. I looked the part, and I did a good impersonation of the Shakespearean accent from imitating line and line from the radio. I'm not sure if you are doing the old-fashioned thing now. I think you're just going, check this later. Find out a date-specific famous actors from, to put in these gaps. Find the name of a hotel in Paris in the 30s and add it later.
Maybe.
Okay, there's a bit of a surprise in the next line. So, love the idea of the theatre, looked the part, did a good impression of the Shakespearean accent. But there were no actors or theatres in Coleville.
Hooray!
So yeah, that small village near Derby, which is nearer to Leicester and Loughborough, but no, Derby, why not, is actually Coleville. I would need to go to London. Getting a bit autobiographical here. Wanted to be an actor, but Coleville was rubbish, so I moved to London. I would need to go to London, but to afford this, I would need a job first to save money for my future. So I took the only job available to a nobody with zero skills, and I went down the pit.
Oh no!
Stop being autobiographical at this point. I was not a typical miner. I was not a happy miner. But I did not shirk the task. Let it not be said that George Spooner is a shirker. By all means call him useless and lacking any discernible talent, but give him a shovel, and by thunder he shall dig. Good, I like that. I hated the job so much, I took... Why am I whistling at the end of much there? I hated the job so much. Okay, that's better. I don't usually whistle when I say much, do I? Is that a thing I always do I?
Yeah, always.
I hated the job so much. that. I hated the job so much, I took extra shifts in hopes of being able to quit sooner. And so it was that one early morning I was soldiering away, shooting the coal. I was soldiering away, you see. That means he was shooting the coal. I was doing wordplay then. I was joining in with George Spooner, and you still didn't get it. Doesn't matter if I do it or if you wrote it.
Well, it makes sense because only he's a gun, so he can shoot coal, can't he? Yes. He's full of bullets, as we know.
And so it was that one early morning I was soldiering away when I struck ice. At least I thought it to be ice to begin with, but closer inspection led me to believe it was glass. Then a sudden memory of Penny Dreadful brought a far grander realization. A sudden memory of a Penny Dreadful.
A Penny Dreadful, yeah.
Because they were performances, right? Penny Dreadfuls.
The Penny Dreadful was just like a newspaper, like a kids' newspaper.
Was
I suppose.
it?
I believe so.
Was it not?
I mean, I could be making that up. That's what I thought, but I mean, as I did no research.
It was certainly something. It was pulp something, wasn't it? It was pulp something that cost a penny.
Yes.
I'm going to look Penny Dreadful up so I know what it was now. Penny Dreadfuls were cheap, popular serial literature produced during the 19th century in the United Kingdom. The pejorative term is roughly interchangeable with penny horrible, penny awful, and penny blood. The term typically referred to to a story published in weekly parts of 8 to 16 pages, each costing 1 penny. The subject matter, this is what I want to know. The subject matters of these stories was typically sensational, focusing on the exploits of detectives, criminals, or supernatural entities. Sounds like Greta Binchleaf to me. First published in the 1830s, Penny Dreadfuls featured characters such as Sweeney Todd, Dick Turpin, Varney the Vampire, and Spring-Heeled Jack.
Brilliant.
So then, a sudden memory of a Penny Dreadful brought a far grander realization. Under a scarcely known law that I was fortunate to have heard about in a short story, I claimed halves on the diamonds and the rest is history. Oh, okay, so he's discovered diamonds in the ground under Coville.
Yes. I bet Superman probably turned up and squoze some of that coal.
That is actually where you're getting this from, isn't it? I mean, seriously, the reason you've gone coal mine diamonds, the reason you've got that connection is from Superman 3.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. You're just like, well, Coville's quite heavy. It probably crushed some of that coal into diamonds.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Worst Writer in the World. If you want more stuff by us, then go to patreon.com/manbycow and get it. Bye milk.
Bye milk.
Worst writer in the world. Worst writer in the world.